Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. A U.S. Army sergeant was shown in a viral video shoving, intimidating, and harassing a young black man who came into his neighborhood. Now, your 42-year-old Jonathan Petlin, a 42-year-old sergeant in the U.S. Army, was shown in this video with his wife harassing and intimidating a young black man who came into their neighborhood in South Carolina. Now, according to your Jonathan Petlin, this black man who we saw wandering around in the neighborhood was not supposed to be there, and he came out of his home with his wife to send a message to this young black man that he did not belong in the neighborhood and he was going to make him leave the neighborhood. And he did that through his intimidating body language, swatting his cell phone away, and then getting in his face. And when I take a critical examination of this incident which took place in South Carolina, where your Jonathan Petlin was harassing and intimidating this young black man, it's a clear case of racial profiling, and it's a clear case of the terrorism many black men and black women have experienced when they go into neighborhoods outside of the black community. Now, most black people who have gone outside of the black community, we have experienced this kind of racial profiling at one time in our lives, and we get, when we go to these neighborhoods, these kinds of looks and these kinds of stares, and sometimes you run into guys like this, and these guys, they want to send a message with their behavior. You don't belong in this neighborhood, and if you continue to stay here, we're going to make your life a living hell. The message of that whole incident with the shoving and intimidation is designed to send a message to that black man or that black woman to never come back to this neighborhood again. And this is something that has been done historically all across this country. I remember back in the late 80s hearing about what people call the Howard Beach incident, where a young black man was chased onto the Belt Parkway by a mob of young white men, and this led to him losing his life. And in another incident which took place, I think in 1989 or 1990, in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, Yusuf Hawkins went to Bensonhurst to look at a used car and then ran into a mob of white teenagers who wanted to send a message, and one of those white teenagers had a firearm and shot and murdered Yusuf Hawkins. And this has been going on all across this country for years, and this viral video just shows us how little things have changed over the last 30 years, that we were supposed to be becoming more progressive, but we're seeing that we're not making much progress. Instead, we are regressing on racism, because to go out here and harass and intimidate this young black man, that just shows in 2021 how little things have changed as related to racism here in America. Because when I look at that incident, it just again shows how the racial profiling goes on all throughout this country. And this is something, again, many black people have experienced in their lives. And sadly, this young man, who clearly looked like he had some sort of issue as related to his mental health, he was suffering this terror, intimidation, and harassment, all because this white man did not want this black man in a place that he thought he didn't belong. Now, these racists, they go out of their way to terrorize and intimidate black men like this because they don't want black men disrupting their smooth world. Because in these beta males' eyes, these men are disrupting their smooth world, preventing them from having a world filled with conflict, problems, and obstacles. So they want to go out here and make their world smooth again because this person is disrupting their whole serenity as related things. They want everybody to be in their place, and when this black man is out of his place, they want to put him back in his place by terrorizing him, harassing him, and scaring him to the point where he will never come back again. And we saw this behavior participated in over a decade ago when George Zimmerman decided to racially profile Trayvon Martin. And then after racially profiling Trayvon Martin and fighting with Trayvon Martin, he wound up murdering Trayvon Martin. So we're seeing this happen once again with this Jonathan Petlin, who, just like George Zimmerman, another beta male, wanted to make his world smooth by terrorizing a black person. And he just went out here and attacked this man and was being egged on by his wife to continue to harass and intimidate this black man, who some people are rumoring that he was having an argument with some girl out there or one of the female neighbors. But this was not his place to, again, get into somebody else's business. And again, they're sitting there saying that he picked the fight, but this has not really been confirmed. But it's not his place to go out here and intimidate somebody else. If somebody's having an issue, they can call law enforcement and have law enforcement handle this situation. You don't need beta male suburban commandos coming in and calling themselves declaring war on someone. And when I look at this case, this is another beta male suburban commando looking to declare war on a black person, similar to the beta males who went out here and declared war on Ahmaud Arbery and murdered Ahmaud Arbery. So when I look at this whole case, it's something that, again, shows how little things are changing as related to race here in America, and how things are continuing to get worse here as related to race here in America. Now, one positive aspect of this whole incident as related to this racial profiling that this young black man went through is that the community actually stood up for that young black man, and they also stood up against racism, and they stood up against racism by sending a message to that Jonathan Petlin and his wife that they would not tolerate his racism by coming out to their house in force. And we need more black people and other people out here to come out in force and send a message to these beta male suburban commandos and these race soldiers out here. Send them a message that their racism will not be tolerated, because the way he was acting in this video was completely unprofessional for a member of our U.S. military, and it was conduct unbecoming an officer in the U.S. military. So here you have a drill sergeant who knows things about rules, structure, and order, and is supposed to be teaching rules, structure, and order, and he doesn't really understand how things work as related to people. Because when you're in a situation and you see somebody out here who appears to be lost, the customary thing is to try to be amicable and try to ask that person if they need help. You don't come at them in a hostile and argumentative fashion like you saw this Jonathan Petlin do in the video. No, people who see somebody who needs help or is having an issue, that this man, who again clearly looks like he has some sort of disability, you want to be able to help them find their way by asking them things. And if people are having issues, I think they were having issues because he had a disability. But the whole thing is, this man escalated things, and he escalated things because he saw a black man out of a place that he thought he didn't belong, and because he saw that black man out of a place, he wanted to put him in his place. And this is something that beta males love to do, because beta males believe that this is how they get and maintain power. They think that if they go out here and intimidate someone through force, they can force that person to fall back in line. And this is the type of tactic that they use to keep people submissive and under control. And a lot of black people don't understand that a lot of these people you're seeing out here who participate in these incidents like this, these are beta males, and your beta males, they participate in this kind of behavior because these men are extremely insecure. They feel inadequate without their world getting disrupted, with their world disrupted, and they really cannot handle change. And because they can't handle change, they get extremely emotional and angry like this. And again, they look to harass, intimidate, and terrorize people because they want to get their world back to being smooth once again. And that's one of the things that makes these beta males extremely dangerous. And I thank God that this young man is still alive to be able to tell his story, and he had people out there looking out for him, because over the last century there have been many black men like this young black man who have run into guys like this, and they have not come out of it alive. I think his name was Michael Stewart in Howard Beach, or Michael Griffith in Howard Beach, Yusuf Hawkins in Bensonhurst, your Ahmaud Arbery, Trayvon Martin. Many of those young black men went through the same type of intimidation, and they're not here today. And thank God there were people in the community to come out to look out for this young black man, because there was somebody there. And again, them coming out in force, that sent more of a message to this racist, and we need more people to come out and send that message to these kinds of racists, that your racial profiling will not be tolerated, your intimidation and terror tactics will not be tolerated, and this is not a way we treat human beings. And I'm hoping that his superiors in the military send a message to him as related to possibly taking some rank from him or doing some other sort of discipline, because his conduct is unbecoming a member of the United States military, and it's unbecoming that of an American citizen. And we really, again, need to start setting a standard for how we're going to be treated. What we saw in that community is the model we need for the entire country. We need people coming out in force and coming out to stand up and stand against your racist and your white supremacist all across this country. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to learn more about the dysfunctional behaviors of beta males like this Army Sergeant, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And this book will teach you all about why these males act like this, why they participate in their violent behavior, and why these types of males are extremely dangerous, and will give you a better understanding of why so many men out here behave in this disturbing way. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers this April, Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. The goddess next door must take on the threat of a deadly digital diva driven to destroy the world in this action-packed all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Revenge of the Cyber Goddess in paperback and e-readers this April.